All right, what's up, boys and girls? Here with DSP's 7 Years of Slander, as promised. This is gonna be part one because there's just fucking so much in this one that I couldn't get it all in one. So we're gonna have a part two, maybe in about a week to 10 days. I'm gonna take a few days in between these parts because, as some of you know, I'm gonna work on a special episode of To Catch a Pay Pig, one-time special Halloween edition. I still got to figure out some of the details on that, how I'm going to go about it, but I got to start working on it in the next couple of days to have it out in time. It might be out the day before Halloween, maybe Halloween day, but people might be streaming and doing special stuff, so I'm not going to interfere with their streams. So this is part one of 7 years of truth, as I like to call it. We'll have part two out, sooner rather than later. Let me give two quick shout outs and then we're going to just jump into this. One to Alcatraz in the Discord. I was crying and bitching about not doing this because it was taking too long, and the video is like an hour and 47 minutes long. DSP's video is an hour and 47, and Alcatraz just kind of gave me some encouragement and said to kind of break it up in a certain way, and appreciate the words of encouragement, and shout out to Alcatraz for that. And one quick shout out to Zircon. Zircon said he's dealing with the hardest time of his life right now. He's got some stuff going on, quote, behind the scenes, unquote. But I just wanted to say, keep your head up, man. And, just you being able to admit this stuff and say stuff like this publicly, somebody like myself and people you don't even know could be pulling for you or just giving you positive energy. So if y'all see Zircon in the premiere or in the chat, give him a thumbs up and let him know this shit's going to pass, homie. This is just a bad time right now, but it's going to pass. And if push comes to shove, look at your fucking screen right now and just know that you ain't this fucking guy. Shout out to Marvin in the Discord for this picture. As you can see, this happened recently. Gentleman by the name of Sean sent DSP $300 the other night. And let's go ahead and go to the next picture because Sean said he sold his Xbox and some games for either $400 or $500. And he ended up giving $300 to DSP that night. And as you can see here, he replied to somebody else, Tony fucking Danza. He says, it's manageable. Still technically homeless, but I have enough to get by. I am good for a while. Now, as soon as this happened, shout out to some people in the Discord. I'm not going to say their names because I don't know if they want to be associated with it. But they started looking at the dude's channel and a few things about the guy. And next picture. As you can see, I went to his channel and he had a video uploaded 3 weeks ago called Hungry and Homeless in Car Again. Final video, Jesus is coming soon. And, what do you even say, man? What do you even fucking say? So it's just unbelievable. Everybody's freaking out that night. Like, DSP, how can you fucking accept this, man? But he doesn't know at the time, right? He doesn't know. People are posting all this shit. So about 5 or 10 minutes goes by, and I end up doubling back. And let's go to the next picture. I end up doubling back to the profile because I want to just see that video. I want to see what he's saying and shit. Click on it, and look what happened. Within 5 or 10 minutes of him tipping DSP, this dude already fucking had pulled this video down. It was there, but he pulled it down. People in the chat were like, man, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you giving this guy money? You're in the position that you're in, and you're fucking sending DSP money. What the fuck is wrong with you? Alright, so of course DSP never brings it up again. We don't fucking hear anything about it. He clearly didn't refund the guy's money. He knows what happened now, and he doesn't refund the money. He doesn't. When this guy, in 2 weeks, when this guy's fucking rock bottom again, DSP, are you gonna fucking help him? Are you gonna take him into your home and fucking clothe this guy and feed him? Or are you just gonna fucking say, hey, good to see you again. Where's the fucking money, pal? Again, add this to your fucking 7 years of slander too. And like I said, it's 7 years of truth, bitch. Next picture. Shout out to Lackey Bracky here. I love this fucking comment so much. DSP is the only person on earth who can get the homeless to give him money. Phil does negative charity. He takes from the homeless. Big Oinks. I don't know what Big Oinks, but I don't even know what to say. I don't even. This man has homeless people giving him money. And by the way, I heard about the other stuff about our good friend Sean, and I'm not even gonna fucking touch that. I just wanted to at least touch on this topic because it's so fucked up. And DSP, you need to refund that money, dude. You need to refund that fucking money. Let's go ahead and jump into 7 Years of Slander. And we're going to start off with a picture that, well, you'll see. Alright, so in order to prepare for the video, he tweeted out, "Okay, internets, this is it. For the first time ever, I'm going to directly counter all of the crap that's been spewed about me for the last 7 years right now on stream. So come join me as I run down the shit list of lies and tell you the truth about each one." And the guy's so fucking lazy, he couldn't even change his little thing there that advertises he's playing MLB The Show, which he wasn't. This was a fucking podcast. So he's ready. You're ready. I'm ready. Sean is definitely fucking ready. 7 Years of Slander. A go.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Phil Burnell, aka Darkside Phil here. And I'm doing something very special tonight, something that was completely unplanned, something that's off the cuff, on the fly. The reason I'm doing this is because in the past couple of days, the internet at large has finally kind of turned an eye to me for the first time in a major way in a long time, in an actual positive light. Now, this video and stream is not going to be about that. Alright? I'm not going to be talking about how this other guy, this other content creator completely screwed up his life by doing messed up stuff. And basically, I had two pretty epic looking tweets that, yes, one of them was directly to him and one wasn't. It was more indirect, but two epic tweets that kind of went crazy on Twitter. One of which has like 6,000 likes. One has like over 17,000 likes. And major content creators, including guys like Hee Productions and PewDiePie, amongst others, have been like referencing me. Boogie said that it was his favorite tweet ever. This is the first time in years that anyone has really come out and said anything positive about me, because sadly, as you guys and gals know if you are longtime fans of mine, there's a lot of bullshit and slander and all kinds of crap about me all over the internet. All right, people are like, I guess it's not Hee Productions. They say it some other way. I have no idea how they say it. I never saw it before. I'm just saying, big content creators, all right, have been referencing me in a good light. And I'm like, this is a great opportunity because I've got over 2,000 new Twitter followers. I've got hundreds of new followers on my YouTube channel. I know people are going to be coming out to check out streams. And if they don't see that, you know, I basically take this opportunity to do something positive and kind of almost clear my name for the last 7 years of slander that's been against me on YouTube in particular. But of course, now it's all over the internet. I almost feel that sadly, there's not going to be another opportunity to do it. Because the thing is, there's so much crap that's said and done about me all the time. And yes, every once in a while on a stream or in a video, I can kind of denounce it and tell you the real story behind it. But the funny thing is that some of these things I've talked about at length in the past, and people just don't know. Oh, well, Phil addressed it. Well, we ignore the fact that he addressed it, and we just say that it's still a fact. I'm like, but no, I actually talked about this 2, 3, 4 years ago. I explained the whole situation from start to finish, and people are still like, well, it didn't happen, right? So the purpose of tonight's stream and tonight's video here is to basically take a lot of those things, that common things, misconceptions about me, slanderous statements, memes, things about Darkside Phil that have been said over the last 7 years, and kind of try to at least denounce them, debunk them, or at least tell you the truth about that situation. Now, you don't have to believe me, and the bottom line is there will be thousands of people out there that probably will never believe me no matter what I say and do anyway. There's nothing I can do about that, but at least I think this is a good place to start for those who are now maybe, oh, I heard about Darkside Phil, he made these epic tweets, but now we hear negative stuff about him. This will finally be my opportunity to kind of clear the air about all that stuff and kind of start a clean slate almost. Because really, that's what I've wanted. In the past 2 years, I've become a full-time live streamer rather than a YouTuber. That is my focus, and that's what I want to do. And it's hard when you have all this baggage from the past that's dragging along with you, and no matter how much you try to shake it and change for the better, you still have people who drag you down with all that shit, okay?
He's like a fucking crackhead at a free crack giveaway, man. And I wonder whose idea this was, his or Ket's. I could just imagine how many times he repeated himself or said to Ket, Look at this epic tweet, honey. People like me again, honey. I'm going to do a 7 years of slander, honey. And her response was probably, oh, that's nice, or I don't care. Let's go back to the beginning. So, it's not about this guy that screwed up his life. It's about 2 epic viral tweets that he had. He legit said that. Some guy screwed up his life, and it's about 2 epic viral tweets he had dunking on that guy. And he doesn't kick people when they're down. Remember that. But this dude did a 2-hour video. Again, this was an hour and 47-minute video. Essentially a 2-hour video jacking himself off, basically, after another content creator had his life ruined, who was pro Jared, obviously. And by the way, what ended up happening? Didn't the pro Jared stuff end up being not as bad as people were making it out to be? And of course, this piece of trash never brings it up again. He just used it for a 2-hour video, made money off of it, tried to claim he had positive momentum, and look what happened. Absolutely nothing. This was recorded, I believe, in May of 2019. And what has changed? What has came from this? Then this motherfucker says, He Productions has taken notice of him. He Productions. He says, Boogie said it was his favorite tweet ever. Is that even a fucking good thing? Boogie's become almost as much of a lolcow as you, DSP. You probably don't want that recognition. Then, quote, there's probably thousands of people out there who still won't believe me, unquote. A normal person might take that as a sign. Might say, you know what, maybe there's something wrong with me, or maybe I need to change something, but not this fucking guy. He just doubles down on everything. And gee, Phil, I wonder why people still think you're a liar. People called you a mobile game, fast food, gin addict for years. Your bank account gets hacked, your transaction history leaked, and it proves everything people have said about you for years is true. Isn't it, Shawn Michaels? Next fucking clip.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to be doing is going down a list. I actually have a list of things here that I want to address live on the stream tonight. And hopefully, going through all of this stuff will be enough to kind of clear the air with a lot of things, and at least we'll be at square one, at least for some of you. Like I said, I know some people will never convince, but who cares, right? Also, this is honestly going to be almost like a weight off of me, because like I said, I usually never talk or address this stuff, and for me to finally be able to get it off my chest to talk about some of this stuff publicly is going to be a good thing. Now, a few things. Number one, I will be accepting, contributions during the stream as usual. Cheering, subbing, and tipping will all be allowed and everything. And I will periodically be updating the leaderboard with things like top cheer, top tip, etc. However, I'm not going to be entertaining troll cheers, so things coming in, that are blatant insults. No, I'm not going to be taking that. And also, in regards to just in general, I want to be able to focus in on what I'm talking about. So understand that maybe you guys will be contributing. You'll expect a shout out. I'll try to squeeze it in, but that's really not the main purpose of this stream. It's really just to clear the air about a lot of things. Okay. So for example, DJ Atomica did a 200-bit cheer. That made him the top cheerer so far of the stream tonight. And I want to get him up on the leaderboard here. Okay. And I got a $1 tip from Jack, who says, what's your advice for trolls? Don't let the trolls get you down. The advice for the trolls, move on at this point. You know what I mean? Like, I could understand. Here's the thing, and this is the truth of the matter. I'm saying I'm going to debunk 7 years of slander, right? For 7 years, I've been the butt of the internet's joke because of the way that I used to act 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. When I started on YouTube, I was a very obstinate, opinionated asshole who didn't want to think outside of my own realm of very narrow perspective, and I didn't want to walk in another person's shoes or see things from another perspective. And I would regularly, at the dawn of when I really had my highest popularity on YouTube, all right, I was an asshole. I'll openly admit that. I used to go out and say, oh, screw everyone who plays Minecraft. They're a bunch of immature idiots. Who the hell would ever want to play Minecraft, right? That's so ignorant. That's stupid. You know what I mean? Why would I say that? But that's dumb shit I used to do. oh my god, screw Hideo Kojima, he makes terrible games. Stuff. I would say stuff like that, and people would take it as like serious shit, and they would then hate on me, and they would make tons of videos about me, and they would hate me for that. And then over the years, different things happened, like the "This is how you don't play" movement, where people would take my gameplay and unfairly, honestly, edit it together to only show moments where I really sucked or I was doing stupid shit in a game and I was just, talking out of my ass, and those would go viral on YouTube. And sadly, that would now make people think that, like, there's no valid content that I put out there, when in reality, that was a skewed perspective. Now, it was a true perspective. The things that were in those videos were taken right out of my videos. It wasn't like people were adding stuff in that wasn't in the videos. But taking stuff out of perspective of an entire playthrough makes you look bad, right? So really, it was 20...
All right, and I've said this before, but this is what bothers me the most about this fucking guy, man. This is one of the things that he does. Once again, he brings up how he was a dumb or shitty person in the past. And of the million examples he could give, he uses what he said about Minecraft and Kojima. You know, he skips over all the racist shit he used to say, skips over calling his fans quote-unquote gay, retarded, immature, spoiled little shits, unquote. Skips over beating off live on stream. Skips over calling iJustine a whore, and that she was getting gangbanged at some conference by a bunch of executives. Meanwhile, you say one negative thing about his wife nowadays, and it's the end of the fucking world. But nah, none of that shit matters. He said stuff about Minecraft and Kojima. Those are his fuck-ups. Let's go back to the beginning of it. And of fucking course, he's not going to respond to troll cheers, and he's essentially not going to respond to anyone that's going to call him on his bullshit or dispute any of the things he's going to debunk. Imagine that. A debunk stream where no other opinion is allowed. Isn't that exactly what he's accusing others of doing to him? Spreading misinfo and bullshit about him, but he can't debunk it or defend himself properly. And then look at this shit. No one else can counter or argue anything else he says. It's fucking stupid, man. And look at I'm gonna put this picture up. Did you see this? Look at his fucking hair and his just posture, and this dude doesn't even comb his hair, man. Doesn't fix himself up at all before coming on camera in front of people. He just shows up how he looks and doesn't give two fucks, man. This is sad. Let's go to the next clip.
All right. The one thing that I want to say is off limits here tonight, because this is the very truth, is things that is private information about other people that I can't reveal. So, oh my God, I want secret behind the scenes dish on what happened with your ex-girlfriend. I can't do that. I can't do that because sadly, that's private information. That's not just me. That's someone else too. I want information about your wife. I'm not doing it. Not doing it. That's unfair to someone else who's not here, who is not part of this, to give information like this. And the thing is, yes, sadly, the slander over the years has come into my life with my personal relationships, my family and everything. All this has been affected by these people who say nasty shit about me all the time. But what I will do tonight will directly address as much as I can without revealing personal information that would be risky or unfair to other people. Fair enough? All right. So the first thing we're going to start with, Styles K did 100-bit cheer, by the way. Thank you very much, Styles K. The first thing I want to start with, all right, is looking at a long time ago. Back before I ever live streamed, back before I ever did any direct capture, way back when, all right, I used to make racial jokes, okay? I used to make racial jokes. Now, the racial jokes that I made, I used to call myself an equal opportunity offender, meaning I would make a joke about one culture or race and then another culture or race, but I would also make a joke about my own culture. You know, I'm Polish and Italian, and I would make those kind of jokes during gameplay as well. And, you know, what people will do over the years, they'll take clips out of context, all right? And they will put a clip out there completely out of context of a playthrough and make one little, this is one joke Phil made in 2010. Look at what a horrible racist he is, right? The bottom line is, and this is the truth of the matter, in my lifetime, I've had more friends that were not white than white, because I actually grew up in Bridgeport, Connecticut, which was a city that as I was growing up became more and more multicultural. my elementary school, my high school, always had a multicultural group. My best friend when I was growing up was Puerto Rican. I had, African American friends. I had friends from all different Asian cultures, Indian, Laotian. Oh man, what was Vanarak? Vietnamese. I've had friends of every nationality in my life. Okay. But people will always take one little thing out of context or whatever and say that I'm a racist. All right, ladies and gentlemen, one of the biggest, and I will admit this to this now, I will publicly say this, one of the biggest mistakes that I actually feel that I made in my early career as a content creator is that I was making Nazi jokes. All right, they're not funny. I know that. But the thing is, I used to be a very adamant listener to the Howard Stern show. And Howard Stern, as you guys know, if you listen to him, is a very risque guy, and he does very risque things. And he used to do segments on his show where someone would impersonate a Nazi. And he would say ridiculous things that would be over the top. And, oh my God, but the joke was that it's not a real Nazi. It's a guy impersonating a Nazi and personally doing over the top stuff that we all agree is absolutely ridiculous. Now, if you don't know, Howard Stern is Jewish. So for him to have Nazi jokes on his show kind of makes sense. I'm not Jewish. For me to make stupid Nazi jokes in videos that I've done and stuff is not smart. It's dumb. It's incredibly fucking stupid. And at least I'm proud to say I haven't made a joke like that in 9 years, okay? But people will still bring it up to this day and say that Phil is a racist and Phil is totally, he hates the Jews. Did you ever see that video that he made where he was playing the Dead Space 2 demo and he was pretending to be Isaac Himmler, the last remaining Nazi, and saying that because the Jews ran rampant across the universe that they infected the whole universe with a necrovirus and he wants to turn on the ovens and burn all the Jews? It actually happened. I'll always fess up to that. It's out there public on the internet. You can't hide it. It's something very incredibly stupid that I did.
I'll fess up to that. What the fuck else can you do? You fucking said it, dumbass. I'll fess up to that. Of course you will. You don't have a choice. It's always about making himself out to be the victim and this morally good person that just made one little mistake, man. It always fucking comes back to that. Let's go back to the beginning of it. All the slander over the years has come into his personal life and affected his family, blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's partly your fault for trying to monetize every aspect of your life for years. Maybe you should take some of the blame for it. But no, it's the evil trolls that do all this shit. And he's an innocent person that lives a private life. What a fucking joke. Then he says people were taking clips out of context and making you look like a racist. Are you fucking kidding me? Didn't this guy just say a few minutes ago that the clips weren't taken out of context because they were clips of him actually saying the stuff? And because he would joke about his own heritage, that makes it okay for him to be racist. He talks about all these friends he had that weren't white and blah, blah, blah. Then why were the main two people that were supposedly your friends that were on camera regularly white? Why did you go out of your way to claim your girlfriend with an Asian sounding name wasn't Asian, she was a white? And I take one look at you here, buddy, and you look a white. I mean, I don't got anything against white people, but when you're sitting here trying to say you've had all these multicultural and all this bullshit and these different friends, and the proof doesn't show that, man. I don't know. And then he starts giving us Howard Stern's life story. What the fuck does this have to do with debunking 7 years of slander? What the fuck does Howard Stern have to do with you? Not a damn thing. Don't slander his fucking name, jackass. Next clip.
At that time, I thought that it was funny. Now, here's the thing. That actually got me banned off of a website that was not YouTube. It got me banned off of a website called blip.tv. You may have heard of them. It's a business that existed back then. And what happened was, I had been doing YouTube videos from 2008 to 2010 as a hobby. I had never made a dime doing it. I'd never monetized any videos. Well, I wanted to monetize my videos because I got laid off. I've been working at an office job for almost 5 years. And I got laid off out of nowhere unexpectedly. And I was kind of the underdog of the internet because people supported me. They loved my YouTube videos at that point and really wanted to see me succeed. Okay. And so what ended up happening was I went to Blip TV and I started uploading my videos there because on Blip you could monetize your gameplay videos. You couldn't do that on YouTube back then in 2010 unless you had a specialized partnership with a third-party company. So I went to Blip, and within 1 month of me uploading my gameplay videos to Blip, I was making good money. And actually, I was the second-ranked guy on the fucking website under the Nostalgia Critic. The Nostalgia Critic was number 1. I was number 2 within a month, which was pretty insane. But what ended up happening was I put out that video, that Dead Space 2 demo video with that kind of jokes and commentary in it. And what happened was my trolls, which I've always had trolls. Even back then when I was white hot popular, I had trolls. My trolls staged a campaign, which they later admitted publicly was a fake campaign. They mass emailed Blip TV, pretending to be hundreds of upset people, saying, how dare you have someone on your site who's making this kind of comedy and kind of commentary and stuff like that. Okay, and it sucks because, you know, they got me. You know, Blip TV management saw these hundreds of complaints. Like, I've never seen anything like this before. They watched the video. They're like, okay, get rid of them. And they kicked me off the site. All right. It sucks. I was banned from Blip TV because of troll activities. The bottom line was the thing I got banned for is pretty heinous. I agree. Jokes about Nazis and shit is not funny. I, at that point in my life 9 years ago, was very immature and thought that it was, and thought that if I emulate Howard Stern, I should be all right. But obviously it's wrong. And the thing is, now in 2019, I could come out and say, my God, that's so stupid. Why did I do that? But that's something always that people try to say. Phil was a racist. Phil always used to do videos that were racist content and stuff. No. In fact, it was a rarity when I did stuff like that. That's why it was funny. And every once in a while, I would go out of control and do stuff like that. But now in the modern era, I can fess up to it and tell you guys I'm not like that anymore. I realized how stupid and dumb that shit was. You know, it's kind of similar.
Absolutely incredible. This guy was nearly 30 and still talking like that in front of a camera. In front of thousands of people, no less. It's one thing to make jokes with your friends or in the privacy of your own home. But I would imagine by the age of 30, most of us would have enough common sense to not go out and say a bunch of racist or immature shit at our jobs, or just outside, or in public in general. But that's too much to ask for this piece of shit, because of Howard Stern, apparently. Let's go back to the beginning of the clip. Direct quote, "I was making good money," unquote. There's another Phil Burnell special. Can't tell you any kind of exact amount. It's always a good amount of money, a couple of bucks on mobile games. I was making okay money, etc., etc. Remember that for later. I was making good money. Just remember that quote. And then we move on a little bit, and it's fucking incredible. Now, I wasn't around for Blip TV, so I don't know how much of what he's saying is true about trolls reporting him, etc. But what I do fucking know is that he just glossed over what he said. What he said that actually got him kicked off the fucking platform, by the way, and went straight to the trolls mass reporting him and trying to ruin his life. This dude had a victim mindset his entire fucking life, man. It's always trolls. It's never his fault. There's no responsibility. There's no accountability. It's just fucking trolls. And Blip was stupid for believing them. Obviously. Next fucking clip.
Ladies and gentlemen, in 2012, I made public my relationship with a woman at that time who was my girlfriend, okay? And she very much became a part of my content over a 5-year span that I was involved with this woman. She went by Panda on the internet. That was her nickname or whatever. And there's always been lies and slander and complete horrific nonsense regarding my relationship with Panda, which is horseshit. And the thing is, it's in my past. I mean, we haven't been together in over 2 years. I now have a married to a beautiful, lovely woman named Kat, and my life is great. But the thing is, people to this day still fucking bring up this bullshit. So tonight, for the first time ever, I'm debunking this bullshit. All right? The first thing that everyone fucking says to me is that, Phil, you first met Panda when she was underage. She was under the age of 18. When you first started talking to her, you were grooming her so that you would finally go out with her and all this shit. And all of that is complete and utter fucking bullshit, nonsense, false. The truth of the matter is that back then, this was a different era, all right? It really was. It was a different era of YouTube. back then people used to use YouTube private messaging. I don't. No one even uses that anymore. Sending me a private message on YouTube. I haven't even looked at a YouTube private message in a great part of 5 years. I'm not even exaggerating. Okay. So she actually, as a fan, a viewer, private messaged me on my DSP gaming channel. I believe the very first date was that it was like November of 2011. November of 2011. Okay. And I didn't know who she was. Basically, she was just someone friendly, someone who I had talked to back and forth via messaging for about 2 months. And then after that, we wanted to start talking a little bit more, so we started texting each other. And, it just grew from there. And then we dated on and off from the year of 2012, I say probably early to mid 2012, all the way through 2014, when eventually she moved in with me as we moved across the country out here to the state of Washington. And she lived with me from 2014 until early 2017 when we broke up. Okay?
And look how quickly he just glosses over how they met. How long they exchanged messages for. And that she was a young, immature fan of his. He just glosses over it. And it's so fucking weird and creepy, too. That would be like me or somebody else trying to fucking wine and dine females that just say, hey, I like your videos. I mean, what the fuck, man? And then, let's go back to the beginning. Didn't this fucking guy just say he wasn't talking about personal shit? And that it was unfair to his ex or to his dumbass wife? Just like the Leanna Hospital story, by the way. He doesn't give a fuck, man. No one else matters but himself. He clearly said he's not going to talk about other people because it's unfair, and then look at him. And the truth is, I don't know whether she was underage at the time or not, man. What I do know is that he was 11 years older than her. Like, if you're 41 and your girlfriend is 30, I can maybe understand that. But when you're 29 and she's barely turned 18, and that's not even up for debate, by the way. I mean, what the fuck, dude? It makes him look exactly like what he's trying to debunk here. A fucking groomer that picked out a fan of his to be his fucking girlfriend. And how Shawn Michaels is it that the whole reason for this debunk stream is because supposedly that's what Pro Jared did. Picking out fucking fans and trying to groom them. Can't make this shit up, man. Next fucking clip.
Information, and if you do the math, you see, but when we started dating, she was 18. When we moved in, she was 20. She turned 21 later that year. We celebrated her 21st birthday at a restaurant. She had a drink out for the first time. So it's ludicrous bullshit. Now, one thing I will publicly admit is that we had a very big age gap. I was roughly just under 11 years older than her. And honestly, at first, the relationship was great, and it didn't work out. I honestly will tell you to this day, because I think we were too much of an age gap apart. She had ideas of what she wanted to do with her life and stuff that I was far past that. I wanted to have a more settled life where we're just kind of settled in a home, and it's an adult life. You work, you pay your bills, you go out every once in a while and have fun. While she was more the adventurous type, she wanted to constantly travel, and she wanted to do all shit that we couldn't do. I couldn't afford to do it. And we just grew apart over the years. And it's the bottom line is it didn't work out, I think, mostly because of the age difference. I think that's what it was, is that, having that big amount of an age gap. At first, it was fun because we were dating. So she would come and visit me, and we'd spend some time. Every once in a while, I would go and visit her, and we'd go on these trips and stuff together, and it worked out nice. But then when we finally started living together, and we kind of realized maybe we weren't as compatible as we thought because we were such a big age gap, all right? And that's the truth of the matter behind all of that bullshit that people make up, okay?
Okay, so the narrative is he wanted to live an adult, mature life. Meanwhile, at this same fucking time, he's making racist jokes, talking about tits and sex all the time, making scat jokes, and acting like a fucking dumbass in general. But he wants to live an adult, mature life, and she's too young. But gee, Phil, why weren't you acting like a fucking adult then? And by the way, this piece of trash is still blowing bubbles, playing dress up on stream. And by the way, I want my fucking Skittles. We want our fucking Skittles. We're gonna get our fucking Skittles. If it's the last thing I do on this earth, I'm gonna get my fucking Skittles. Direct quote. She wanted to travel and do all these things I couldn't afford to do, unquote. While he was making fucking bank on YouTube, by the way. And I mean big time bank. But somehow couldn't afford to take a couple of vacations a year. Even though he did somehow take a couple of vacations a year. Well, gee, Phil, maybe you shouldn't have fucking started dating an 18-year-old with no work experience and that wasn't going to school either. You know, maybe get someone closer to your own age that can help do that stuff. Just a thought. And by the way, look at him now. Still claiming he can't afford to do this stuff with his part-time wife. You know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on... Fool me can't get fooled again. Bay. Next clip.
Alright, let's be very clear about the very end of the relationship, because people basically made shit up completely about that, saying someone dumped someone or did this or did that. First of all, what happened is none of anyone's fucking business. And the bottom line is that myself and my ex never disclosed that information, and we never will, because it's none of anyone's fucking business, the truth of the matter behind everything that happened there. Alright? But there was a weird situation, because we had already broken up in early 2017. Alright? We had already broken up. And when we had broken up, we didn't make it public, because we didn't want drama. We knew if we made it public after being together for almost 5 years, that it was going to cause monstrous drama and people were going to be all up in our shit and try, you know, keep in mind, over the years, I'd been swatted. Our family members had been swatted. People who didn't even live with me and my ex had been swatted as a result of just being related to us. So we were like, there's no way that we could disclose that we're breaking up, because they'll probably be trying to find out moving arrangements of where she's moving and all kinds of fucked up shit, okay? So we didn't announce when we broke up. We purposely didn't, to keep it hidden, because we didn't want people to be fucking around with our lives, all right? But there was one particular day when I was streaming, I believe I was doing like a podcast, and I get a call, all right? The call is from my ex's job saying, your ex, you know, had a medical issue and we need you to come pick her up. And I'm like, well, first of all, she's my ex. We don't go out anymore. So why am I getting this call? So apparently there was no one else. None of her friends wanted to help her or whatever. I don't know the deal. I don't know the truth of the matter behind the scenes at all. Okay. At that point, my ex was in the process of moving out of the house. Like, she had some of her stuff out already, and she was staying somewhere else temporarily, but she was kind of half in, half out at this time. So I was like, well, I guess I'll do the nice thing. I'll be the nice guy. I'll go and get her and figure out what the hell's going on. By the time that I had gotten to her job, I had to pay for an Uber and everything. By the time that I got into her job, she was already at the hospital. So I took the car, because by the way, I was still letting her drive my car, despite the fact that we were broken up. She was still driving my car. I was that nice of a guy. I go to the hospital to find out what the hell's actually going on, and I guess she had a panic attack. Now, this is all public information. We talked about it 2 years ago. I'm not revealing anything that hasn't already been revealed, all right? Apparently, she had a panic attack, and it was probably in regards to the fact that not only was she stressed out at work, but we had broken up. Other things, you know, all these factors had come into play.
I guess she had a panic attack. Now, this was all public information that we revealed 2 years ago, unquote. No. I think you came home that night and uploaded a video to your YouTube channel titled Emergency in all caps, and then proceeded to tell every single detail about what she went through. And still somehow made the incident all about yourself. And by the way, lied throughout the whole video that she was still your girlfriend. That's what fucking happened. Keep this shit up, Phil. And I'm going to offer her like $500. Send her a list of pre-approved questions that don't disrespect her in any way. And we'll get the fucking truth. The more that I see how defensive he is, the more I think that he did either cheat on her, or she caught him talking to Kat, or he did something really, really bad. Because usually he'd be trying to play victim and get the narrative, and that she did this and she did that, and he's so fucking defensive. I mean, it honestly looks like he did something, but Whatever, that's my own fucking opinion. And then she was still driving his car despite them being broken up. Because that's how nice of a guy he was. Well, that's your fucking fault, dumbass. You know, how is it he used to make her take the bus to work when they're together, but he still lets her use his car after they break up? You know, nothing ever makes sense with this fucking guy. And I think she didn't know how to drive or something, but still. You make your girlfriend take the bus to go to work, man. I mean, drop her off yourself at the very least. Teach her to fucking drive. Drop her off yourself. It's not hard to do this stuff. But then, of course, after they break up, she still uses the car. And again, it just doesn't fucking make sense with this guy, man. Next clip.
So all that being said, all right, when I came back home, she was all zonked out or whatever, and she's like, you're going to go on your stream now and tell everyone about the story, right? I was like, of course I am, as long as it's okay with you. And she was like, yeah, go ahead. So I did. I came back, I did a stream where I explained exactly what I just told you guys. Basically the story, ins and outs, only I had to spin it to not let you know that we were already broken up, okay? And then it was actually over the course of the next week or two that she moved all her stuff out, and that was the end of our relationship. That was it. And all I saw on the internet was slander. Phil, without permission, went online and disclosed a medical issue with his girlfriend slash fiance, because at the time we were supposedly engaged, even though we had broken up. People thought we were still engaged. And gave all her medical history to everyone on the internet, and then said that he's not giving permission for her to ever have an ambulance come and pick her up ever again, that from now on, no one should ever call the emergency line, but instead they should just hand her a pill and leave her alone. Like, what the fuck? Where did you get that from the story that I told? Like, that's not even close to what happened. All right? I was concerned that here's someone who I'm already broken up with. I went out of my way to help her. I didn't have to. We weren't together anymore. But I went out of my fucking way to go help her. All right? And I basically get slammed for having my concerns over her financial well-being because I know she's going to get a giant bill from the hospital when they didn't do anything. They literally didn't do a fucking thing for her besides hand her a pill at the store where she had her fucking panic attack. It's preposterous. Now, the other thing is people saying, oh, well, that's all well and good, but, you didn't have permission to do that. Well, then why, when I was here on my stream talking about it publicly, was she on her social media posting up, don't worry everyone, I'm okay. There's a picture of her with her hospital bracelet on. Don't worry everyone, I'm okay. Because it was okay, because there was always permission given, but people are fucking assholes, Seriously, they just make shit up. They make shit up to perfectly hurt me, all right, to make me look bad, all right? So, yeah, that's the other thing. So, just so you guys know, I have a list. I actually have a list of things that are common misconceptions that people slander about me. Demanded she never go to a hospital ever again. Instead, they just give her a pill and leave her where they found her. How could I have made that demand when we were broken up? I had no control over anything with her. Like I said, we had talked about it on the way home, how preposterous it was that they took her to the hospital, right? And now they're going to charge her thousands of dollars, and they literally did nothing. A doctor didn't even come to fucking see her. A counselor came in the room instead. Unreal. Like, you can't have a panic attack because of a major medical issue. You could, but they didn't even bother checking.
Fucking credible. He's directly quoting what he said in that hospital video and saying, where the fuck did you get that I said that you can't take her to the hospital and to just give her a pill and leave her somewhere? This is how fucked up this guy is, man. He's saying that trolls spread misinformation and lied. Meanwhile, he's repeating what he said that same day, almost word for word. Is that how you do? What planet are we in that this is how you debunk something? By fucking repeating what you said word for word, proving what you said, but it's debunked. You said she was drugged up and out of her mind. But he takes that as permission to talk about what happened to someone he's not in a relationship with, by the way. And because she posted on her social media that she's okay, that gives you the right to say any fucking thing you want. Again, a direct quote from that video was, I'm going to tell them, if this happens again, no, You get no fucking permission to take her to the hospital. If this happens again and you want to give her a pill, then give her a pill and just leave her somewhere. Unquote. Can't make this shit up, man. So he summarizes everything he just talked about, and his proof is just saying no to a bunch of shit. That was his literal proof, just saying no. Then my favorite part happens. Direct quote. Yes, we were about 10 to 11 years apart in age, and yes, I do feel that that actually was an issue that in the long term, once we moved in together, we realized was an issue we didn't really know beforehand, unquote. So you didn't think that was an issue when you were 29, almost 30, and she was 18 or 19. It's always fucking excuses, man. Always. Never take any responsibility or act like a fucking man. Just make up lies and excuses for everything the Phil Burnell way. And then when fucking shit comes back at you, just declare bankruptcy like the piece of trash that you are.
So I don't understand why people to this day will say that I've ripped off my friends and I didn't pay them. Now, in regards to Project 7, all right, which is the one thing that honestly, didn't go right, and people can say, okay, well, people didn't get paid or whatever. Up front, we had meetings. 2 of them, not 1, 2 fucking meetings up front before we even started production of Project 7 on making money on it. And it was going to be that I was going to make the ad revenue on the videos, but we were going to try to sell the Project 7 t-shirts, and whatever we sold, we would get an equal cut, depending on who financed them. And who financed them? Me and Howard. We were the 2 people who financed them in the end. Because we had to make those t-shirts up front before we could actually sell them. It wasn't like today on Teespring where you could just have them be made on the fly. Instead, back then, that didn't even exist. There was nothing like Teespring. You had to make the t-shirts early, pay for them up front, and then sell them. And we had plans to go to conventions and sell them and do all this stuff. Respect the Pack didn't want any money at all. I had asked them up front, what do you guys want out of this? And they said, we want exposure. We want our channels on YouTube to get exposure as a result of working on the project with you. And then the one thing that we all collectively agreed on was that we were going to eventually, when we finish the series, make a DVD set and try to sell that and make big money on that, because that could be a really cool collectible that viewers want, is a DVD set where we could, who knows what the production cost is, $10, we could sell it for $20, $25, and then we would split all that amongst all of us as profit. And this would be, if it was successful, the first of future collaborations where we could do other projects and explode out there and do spin-offs and all kinds of stuff. And I was totally okay with that. All right.
And that. So what ends up happening? John and I are talking about this, and says, I'm going to talk to him. So what does John say? John goes up to him and says, dude, throw him some money, man. These guys, if you throw them some money, they'll continue. If not, they're going to stop.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because anytime there is a problem, I always do address it right to his face.
Yeah. So
which is not being said now.
What does he say? He has the audacity to say, they didn't. I told them, or I asked them if they wanted money, and they denied it. That's a fucking load of shit.
Okay, so
because I talked to them afterwards about it.
All right, so
well, I don't know, Phil. They seem to be calling you fucking liars there, and I would trust them a whole hell of a lot more than I would trust you. So he says the original deal was that DSP would keep all the ad revenue off of the Project 7 videos. And by the way, you've heard him recently talking about how much he was making in ad revenue. He said that in the last couple of days. The ridiculous amounts of money. We've heard him recently say he could upload any video to his channel about anything, and he was making tons of money off the videos. And keep that in mind for the rest of this segment. Just keep that fucking in the back of your head. He then goes on to say that everyone else agreed to take a percentage of all the t-shirts that were sold for Project 7. He then changes this to say it was going to be split between the people that financed the shirts originally, which he says was him and Howard. And then a direct quote. Respect the Pack didn't want any money at all. I had asked them up front. Unquote. He then says they told him they simply wanted exposure as payment for working on the project. He then goes on to say they agreed to take a percentage of the DVDs that were to be sold from Project 7 after the fact. Well, isn't that fucking convenient? So they don't want surefire money, which you were absolutely getting from ad revenue. They wanted a potential cut of money from DVD sales in the future. Why would two guys want to take less money in the future, which may or may not even be guaranteed for the work they're currently doing, when they could get a sure 100% guaranteed payday right then and there? Yeah, I believe you, Phil. Way to fucking debunk everything here, you stupid idiot.
Right? And that was all what our plans were up front. There was never discussion that people were going to get paid based on how the videos performed on YouTube. There was never discussion about how much money anyone's investing in the series. There was never discussion about anyone getting a paycheck out of it. Ever. It never happened, okay? Now, I guess the one mistake that I made is I was the one who everything was on the line. I was the one with the YouTube channel that was big. I was the one who ultimately, if things went wrong, was going to get the flack for it, right? So what I probably should have done, and I'll tell you right now, if I ever do something like this again, I know to do it, is I will have a fucking contract drawn up, a legal contract, all right, by which, if I'm going to have a business arrangement in the future, I know everyone signs it and it's in writing, so these guys can't come back years later and make stuff up and say, oh, Phil never paid us and none of that. You never said you wanted money. Our agreement was there was no payment to come. In fact, and this is the truth of the matter, people very, very much overestimated the amount of money that Project 7 ever made. If you look at the Project 7 videos themselves, I think the highest viewed one ever was like, at that time, like 180,000 views. In reality, I probably made $300 on that video. That's it. 180,000 views, it doesn't equate to a lot of money. It's like $300 or $300 on a video like that. And so if you add it up, okay, Project 7 had 4 episodes plus a few trailers or whatever. What did I make? Like $1,000 on the whole thing? Well, guess what? I spent more money myself on Project 7 than I ever made, because I bought all the prop guns, the replicas, those guns you saw in the videos that were hundreds of dollar props. I bought all those. I bought games and supplies and things. I was buying supplies for the shoot and everything. Like, I was the one financing the whole thing. So I spent more money than I ever made on Project 7. There was no profit. It was not a profitable thing at all. In fact, it was a loss. The t-shirts that we had, all right, the t-shirts that we had bought to sell, we didn't sell half of them. So I spent more money on the t-shirts than I ever made. And the funny part about the whole thing is Howard apparently is so angry at me because we invested money in these shirts and he never got paid for the shirts. Dude, I still have half of them in the fucking house. We didn't sell them. If you don't sell it, there's no profit to fucking pay it off. I never got my money back for the shirts, so why should you? That was what you call a bad investment. We put money into something that didn't sell. The series got canceled because your friends in Respect the Pack decided not to continue with the series because they weren't getting the exposure that they wanted. So they had sour grapes about putting so much work into the series and not getting the exposure they wanted. Oops, we had already agreed with Phil that we weren't going to take any money, so they just quit, and then we couldn't sell shirts anymore. It's my fault, so now I'm supposed to give all Howard's money back that he invested into these shirts, even though I didn't make my money back. So I'm going to take not only a loss for the investment, but now I'm going to pay him his money back and lose a double investment. You see what I mean? This is insanity.
The fucking lengths that this guy is willing to go to lie. Just to lie. This guy, if you put him out on the plank and told him to walk the plank or tell the truth, this fucking guy would fall over the edge. He would fall into the water with his hands tied behind his back, blindfolded. I mean, this guy can't tell. He's allergic to telling the truth, man. This is incredible. So his rationalization is that because he didn't make money off Project 7, no one else should either. Hold on, guys. Let me write this down in my future business notes. Hold on, guys. Make sure not to pay any employees or partners unless I get paid a bunch of money first. It doesn't matter how much work they do. Just tell them to go fuck themselves. Years after the fact, of course, as I'm safely on the other side of the country in a gated community. Are you guys writing this down, by the way? I sure hope so. Oh, and he made money off of Project 7. We just have to take his word for it that he lost money on the whole thing. Debunked. back to the beginning of it, he said, oh my God. He said the lesson he learned is that if he ever does something like this again in the future, he's going to have a legal contract drawn up. What the fuck difference does it make? You don't honor your fucking legal obligations anyways. Your signature doesn't mean jack shit. A legal obligation and a contract. I wish you would, motherfucker. And he said one of the videos on Project 7 got 180,000 views, and that was the highest, and he probably made $300 off of that video. He says he probably made $1,000 off of Project 7 total. Now I'm going to play you a little clip here that I came across from October 1st of 2019. It's about a 40-second clip. Just listen to what he says, and you'll know it when he says it. And then we're going to go directly into the next clip after that. Let's see what we have fucking got.
And I mean this very, very sincerely, too. I want you guys to understand something. I don't like advertising. I don't want to. I never wanted to. Back in the day, when I was a full-time YouTuber, all right, and when I made ridiculous amounts of ad revenue money on my videos, because number one, my views were crazy, and number two, because ad revenue on YouTube was insanely good back then. This was the wild west of YouTube when everything went, and there were so many ads to go around. It was insane. Okay. All right. Let's continue. I can't believe some of this shit. I really can't. Here's one that's new to me. I didn't even hear about this one until today. I groomed 2 fangirls and used them for sex and extra money. What? Like, what? What the fuck? I don't even know what that is. I don't know how you could even say that. Where's there any evidence of that? I mean, I don't even know where that's coming from. I have no clue where the fuck that's coming from at all. Like, what? That's a first. And I didn't make that up. It's on the same fucking list here that I pulled right off the fucking Twitter today that people believe this. The thing is, like I said, my life has always been very transparent. And it wasn't until, like, when I started dating Kat that I made things more private. But you guys know how busy I am. You guys know how much I work. You guys see I'm on stream all the time. I'm making videos constantly. When the fuck was I secretly grooming 2 fangirls for these covert meetings and shit? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This shit is just out of control, all right? I mean, and of course, that would lead into Phil said that he needed money for taxes, and he used it to buy an escort from Europe to fly the escort multiple times across the world to spend time with him so he could pretend like he had a girlfriend and all that. And of course, that thing was all debunked because that was proven that was actually a middle-aged couple over in fucking like Central Europe or some weird shit who had been catfishing people for like a decade doing this, and they were using other people's personas and online profiles and basically doing identity theft to pretend to be other people. And what they would end up doing is try to blackmail people. So I think what their game was is that eventually what they wanted to do to me by lying on the internet and saying that, oh, I'm an escort, that I was a Phil or whatever, they were going to try to blackmail me and say, well, if you pay us a certain amount of money, we'll go away and never say this ever again. But I don't care about that shit. I already had so many people talking shit about me. I didn't care, and I just said, fuck you, and I ignored it, and it went away within 2 months when finally people did the research, and found out that it was this crazy couple doing insane shit, okay? But again, this is another thing that people still to this day say Phil had an escort. It's like, no, actually, that one was 100% completely debunked, but people still believe it because they're fucking morons.
All right, and that's the last clip for this video for part 1. We are going to have a part 2, don't you worry, because there's just so much. But let's go back to the beginning of it. Direct quote, "You guys know how busy I am and how much I work," unquote. Why do you tease us like this, Phil? Why do you sit there and lie to the camera like that? You're probably the laziest piece of fucking trash I've ever seen in my life. And then imagine that. He doesn't care about someone blackmailing or some catfishing couple over in Europe because his reputation is already so bad, he just doesn't even care. You can't even make this shit up, man. This can't be real life, dude. And then another direct quote. "But people still to this day say Phil had an escort. It's like, no. That one was actually 100% completely debunked. But people still believe it because they're fucking morons, unquote. Well, gee, Phil. I wonder why all those fucking morons out there still believe it. I wonder if it's because you were secretly flying some whore in from across the country multiple times to have fucking staycations. Meanwhile, all that time, you were lying about being sick and needing time off from your strenuous job. And then after you spent a bunch of money doing that, you conveniently decided to announce her to your audience, and you mysteriously had some tax issue come up. And you needed to raise tens of thousands of dollars to save your house and get the IRS off your ass. And then it turns out nothing negative even happened to you. But yet your whore somehow flies in again for Christmas staycation and then eventually moves across the country with you. And all this time she barely works 20 hours a week at a fucking grocery store. I can't figure out why these stupid fucking morons would believe any of this stuff out there. Debunked. Alright, and that's the end of part 1 of 7 Years of Truth. Again, we'll have part 2 probably up in about 7 to 10 days. I'm going to work on the To Catch a Pay Pig Halloween edition for a while. This guy just lies so fucking much, man. And he says anything in the moment just to get out of that fucking situation. He doesn't care how it looks years down the line, months down the line. And this is why it's important to go back and watch this shit. It just shows and proves how much of a liar, and he just tries to weasel his way and snake his way out of everything, man. It's fucking ridiculous. But anyways, we'll have part 2 up in about 7 to 10 days. To Catch a Pay Pig Halloween edition coming soon. Thank you for everybody that showed up to the premiere. Thank you if you contributed. Thank you. Let me give one big shout out to Dominic. Dominic sent me a contribution. I'll just say he sent me $50 a couple days ago. And he had a very, very long detailed message for me, and just, a lot of fucking encouragement, and for me not to care what other people are thinking about me, especially with the PayPal links. I'm sure some of you saw this shit. People feeling the type of way about me, whatever. I don't give 2 fucks, man. And like I posted in that community post, I ain't fucking going nowhere. So you might as well get used to it, homeboy. I ain't fucking going away. But shout out to Dominic. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for the kind words. GAT sent me again another fucking contribution. I'm going to have to refund this one. I'm not going to lie to you. This is too much for me, bro. I'm not going to be able to fucking coordinate all this shit. He's essentially wants to do the raid on Halloween, which I'm up for. We can just go in there and just raid, but this dude's talking about having cash award prizes for best troll name and I'm just like, dude, I can't do this. So I appreciate it. Please contact me in the Discord or on Twitter. You don't have to keep tipping me just to exchange messages with me, bro. You can contact me on Discord or Twitter, and I will respond. If you want to coordinate something like this, that's up to you, but I can't do it, man. I'm going to be trying to do live streams here. I got another video I'm trying to work on. I'm down with the raid on Halloween night if we all want to do this. But, it's just too much, bro. It's just too much. I appreciate you always thinking of me and tipping me, but I'm going to refund this one, buddy. But thank you anyways, man. Outside of that, man, shout out to all the plump pimps out there holding it down. And I will talk to y'all very, very soon. And as always, a fucking go.
What the fuck? I went back in time.